Check, check.
Check 1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, we're back. What's going on, everybody?
Oh, are they gonna answer back?
I have no idea, but I see people in the chat already. What's up, Riggins? What's up, Jason Peace? Biff, what
Yeah,
up? Hey,
yeah.
we
Wow.
back. Season 4, Mission to Mars podcast. It's Al Ingram the third in the booth. And of course, y'all know I can't do Mission to Mars without my partner in crime. We are bad gamers. Gamers, what's up, man?
I'm doing all right, man. I can't believe we're back. It's off season is officially over, like in a few hours. So yeah, I'm
I
excited.
know, man. We got a lot to talk about on today's show, and of course, a few housekeeping things as well from GSB. But we're gonna go ahead and get it started right now. We're gonna hop into our weekly recap. So let me cue the video for them, gamers.
Okay, okay.
All right, here we go. Let's get into it. Let's get into these preseason games here. Let's start with the first preseason game of the year, Seattle Orcas and the New Orleans Riders. We had New Orleans win this one 100-91. Gamers, what did you think
Hmm.
about this game, man?
Well, see, I didn't really get to watch this game, but I'm looking at the team comparison right now, and who I know. I remember you messaging me that Seattle was pretty upset after this preseason game. And it's just a preseason, y'all. It was just a preseason. It's like a glorified exhibition, but it's really not. But um, Seattle just they didn't seem to learn a lot from last season. This off season is you need to get your 3-point shooters going, and New Orleans figured out a way to hit some extra threes there. But we Seattle are season 3 champs. This preseason game meant nothing to them, but this preseason game meant a lot to Nola. So, uh, yeah, but
Yeah, so a few things that I can definitely say about this game. Number one, Brendan Gaucher looked very well, as
mm,
well as the new addition to the New Orleans Riders, Brenton McGinty. He had 22 points, I think 6 assists. He looked very good in his Riders debut. Brendan Gaucher is going to be Brendan Gaucher, of course. He came down with a solid 16, 2, and 6. A couple of other new guys. Greatest ever had 5 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists,
mm,
2 steals, and coming from formerly Baltimore, Thomas Leclaire making his debut. Um, only scored 2 points, but he grabbed 9 boards though. So,
yeah, yeah.
and of course, the man John Matterly, he only had 2 points, but he looked pretty uh good as well. And then on the other end for Seattle, the Dragon doing
Mm,
dragon things, leading Seattle with 23 points.
nice.
Um, this season is gonna look a little bit different.
Mm,
Definitely for sure. I know Seattle was leading early in the game, and New Orleans went on an incredible run to take over the game. Um, both of these teams are looking real good right now for preseason, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they fare in the regular season.
right, right.
So
What?
definitely gonna keep a lookout for both of those teams, and we could tell that there's a little bit more balance this year. I definitely think the points in the paint definitely is going to pick up for Seattle. With them only scoring 48 points in the paint compared to New Orleans point in the paint, which was 40 points, 44% from the three, 80% from the free throw line. Pole politicking, thank you for the biddies, man.
Biddy.
Yeah. But it's definitely gonna be. I think this is gonna be a good season for New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be one of my early season favorites to make the playoffs this year for sure.
Well,
What
I
about
mean,
you, gamers?
I agree with the addition of Thomas Leclerc. Who we love. We
Hmm.
love very much. That gives them some much needed size. They can win those rebounding battles. They can go up. I mean, yeah, Seattle won this rebounding, battle, but New Orleans only lost by a few rebounds.
Yeah.
The defensive boards, they didn't do so well on the offensive boards. But if you're making shots, you don't really have as many offensive boards to scoop up anyway. So Thomas
Right.
Leclerc adds a whole different element. They've got. Did you say McGinty's in New Orleans now? So they've got they've
McGinty's in
got
New Orleans.
they've got their New Orleans is definitely a guard centric team. And I think they've added the right type of player in Thomas Leclerc that can, extenuate those guards, get them some better spacing, and then you got somebody that's 7 feet tall that can scoop up rebounds, and yeah. But like I said, it is the preseason,
Right.
but we know New Orleans. We know that this game meant a lot to them.
Hmm.
Seattle, we're trying to figure out some things, and we won championship last season, so but this is a good sign for Nola. If they can get Gaucher going, Natalie going, you bring in someone like McGinty, who is, I mean, I don't know why he was so overlooked last season,
Hmm.
and then someone like Thomas Leclerc that can be a defensive rebounding type of forward. Yeah, no, I could get on the Nola train with you.
And
Ingram. I could see it them being a pretty good team. I don't know what their ceiling is, but I know what their floor is. Their floor is damn good. So
yeah,
um,
yeah. So definitely going to be on the lookout for New Orleans this season. We're gonna move on along to the Nets game here. 1 second here. Hopefully it loads. There we go. Next game, we had two rebrands for the season: the Motor City Muscle and the Ohio basketball team. And despite us in the booth picking on their court and picking on those uniforms, they proved that that didn't even matter because this game was too easy for them. Ohio basketball team beats the Muscle
dang.
114 to 84. And
Mm,
I definitely watched this game. I commentated some of this game. So one thing that I can say here, Slimer Puffin stuff looked very,
look
very
good.
good.
Yeah.
He was in rumor mills a couple of times last year because we thought he was going to retire. He wasn't really having a very good season over there in Portland, but he switched it up. He started fresh, went to Ohio, and he's looking very good. I mean, just look at his stats from this preseason game. I mean, he had 24 points, 4 assists, 1 steal, shot 3 or 4 from the three, which is
Mm,
very rare for Puff.
yeah.
Made both of his free throws, and he was responsible for 32 of the team's points.
Yeah.
So he looked
Ah.
very good in this game. And another guy who looked very good, who is also new to New Orleans, coming over from San Antonio, Ethan Letterman. So
Yeah.
I went on a rant last year during Mission to Mars, and basically said this guy deserves to be starting somewhere. He
Mhm.
went over to Ohio, and sure enough, he's starting, and that was a good move for Ohio because this guy played phenomenal in the game. 23 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Also shot 3 or 4 from the 3 point line, 9 or 12 from the field. Responsible for 31 points on the team. Ethan Letterman is where he needs to be, I believe. What you
Yeah.
think, gamers?
Yeah. I'm working on a week one schedule game preview, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is I mean, Ohio, they lost about as big a piece as you could possibly lose. Muddy Blunts unexpectedly left GSB, and I think he took his MVP and kind of sailed off into retirement.
Mm,
Elias McCare as well. Ohio traded Scout Mitchell, and so you had these holes in the roster that was very. I mean, a roster that competed for a championship. You know, fell short of a championship last season, and
mhm,
then you insert. a veteran savvy guard like Slimer Puff and stuff, who he did not look good in Portland's system last season, but everybody knew the type of player Slimer Puff and stuff could be and is, and so you get him on a team like Ohio that says, no, we're gonna go back to the basics and make you again, and then you bring in Ethan Letterman on top of all that. It's like it's like when people pour butter on top of the steak and it's already perfectly cooked, and then you just add that. It's so delicious. I don't know why I'm making food references. I'm hungry. It's time to eat. But I mean, I, just those two moves alone, it feels like Ohio is right back in with a chance to make a run. You have Letterman, who is a player. There's a couple players in the GSB who could get you 30 a night.
Mhm.
Chuck Turner, Ant Thomas, and Ethan Letterman, those type of players. I mean, Tim Riggins, Alan Huxley, whatever. But those type of players, they can get you 30 in a night. Ethan Letterman was in a very weird spot in San Antonio last season. It's kind of like he just couldn't get get set properly in the
Mhm.
rotation. He was coming off the bench, and then the games he would start, or if he did start, then he wouldn't be in for very long. He didn't have. It's like he was a starter, but he had like bench minutes, and it just didn't make sense. And a lot of teams flirted with trying to get him. He ended up in Ohio, and I think it's a very, very, very good fit. And
Yeah. And I think another thing we need to mention too, going over to Motor City has an amazing roster too as well.
hmm
I mean,
hmm
they picked up a coach in Toby Kanier.
hmm
Um, I mean, they already have Bear Johnson. You got Gravedigger, who's I think is coming into a prove yourself season based off of how he did his rookie season,
right.
going into season 3 as the number 1 draft pick and not living up to the hype. So I think he's definitely in a prove me year right here. Then you had Shalom Marino, who I gotta put this in, who made his debut and his exit game from Ohio, but we'll get into that
Yeah,
later.
yeah, we're getting to that.
He looked pretty good too. 12 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. Robert Ivory, I believe he was in New York last year, I want to say.
Yeah, yep.
He
Ivor was
made
in New York.
yeah, he made his debut with the Motor City Muscle, scoring 14 points, 1 rebound, shot 6 of 12. So he was 50% from the field
Wow.
and 2 of 3 from the 3 point line. And then of course Jared Freeman, who led the game for the Motor City Muscle. He had 17 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 1 steal. Um I think all the pieces for the muscle are there.
hmm
Um, I think it's just coming up with the game plan
Right,
for
right,
them now.
right. And when you have a team that's that young, I know they've got they've got some young pieces. It's gonna be growing pains. It's gonna be
Mhm.
trying to figure things out. Trying to see who complements who, and that's kind of why I've always tried to push for the preseason to be a little bit longer, so you can really get the experiment, see what you have when you got younger guys, and or you're trying to work in new tens and new game planning, because it
Right.
really does take longer than a week to kind of figure things out. And with the way the season is, you really don't have many games to just experiment and work things out. You got to kind of hit the ground running. But yeah, no, it brings me to that point I said last season on Mission of Mars. Is I mean, every team's got players. Every team is stacked. Not every team is elite, but every team is pretty stacked. You've got guys that can, and guys and now girls that can
Mhm.
be that can be very, very valuable for you, even though it might not look like it right away. So you just have to figure out, you know, exactly what it is that is best for the team game plan wise. And so I know Motor City will get it done. I've talked to Glass. He's very, very, very excited for the season, and he's all in. Um, Even more so than he was last season. It felt like, because when you start stacking losses, it's hard. You just.
Mhm.
But he's locked in, and I think they'll figure it out, kind of throughout the season with all the pieces they have. But good team.
Indeed. Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on here to the next game. which is another rebranded team, the Las Vegas Spades
Mm. Mm.
and the Dallas Flying Stallions. The Spades looked very good in this game, winning 124 to 102. Tim Riggins led the way for the Spades. 18 points, 2 rebounds, 13 assists, giving him a double double.
Wow.
Another guy who looked good was Ernesto Romero III. He had
Yeah.
a double double as well with 18 points and 16 rebounds.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so Las Vegas, formerly the Baltimore Constellation, starting fresh in Las Vegas, and they're looking to pick up where they left off too.
Mm.
Definitely after what it seemed like for them was an early exit in the playoffs. What you think, gamers?
Yeah. Yeah. Baltimore, I think, surprised a lot of people as far as the moves they made last off season, and the development that they did throughout the year. I mean, just they had two superstars, in my opinion, with Tim Riggins and Aldo Huxley both playing at an incredible level all season. And yeah, I think they ran into kind of a buzzsaw in Ohio. Um, and yeah, no, it was probably the closest. I think it was the closest series that they had in the playoffs was the Baltimore Ohio series.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, minus the Dallas and Albuquerque series, but we won't get into that, But
yeah,
uh, just I think Las Vegas is just they're on a warpath, man. It's kind of like when you have a super team and you don't get the results the first year, but everybody's like, "I'm coming back. We're gonna run it back." That's what it feels like. Is they were able to get pretty much everybody back. They added Bobby Bricks. Um, but what I love about Las Vegas is they do a lot of the little things to an elite level. If you look at the rebounding, if you look at the assists, uh, fast break, the things that can turn a game like this, and things that can give you a 20-point win or like a 2-point win, they excel at, and so. It will be interesting to see kind of how they match up throughout the season. Dallas, I didn't watch this game, so I
yeah,
think the only preseason games I watched are the ones at the end, but end of the week. But Dallas, I know they have kind of some holes and things that they want to work on and fix. That kind of
mhm,
unexpected things happen during the off season for them. Um, so they hit their threes. It looks like, oh well, they only made one more than Las Vegas did.
mhm.
So yeah, I mean Las Vegas looks strong. Beating any
Yeah,
team by 20 points is a statement in my opinion, even if it's the preseason. So
yeah, and even still, even though it's preseason for Dallas, two of their players definitely stood out. Luke, with 21 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, and also, of course, just Blaze getting
mm.
a double double that game, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. Shot 8 of 9 from the field and made his only 3 pointer.
Oh,
S-
congratulations.
Um, and some other notable mentions I think would be Cameron Kane and definitely Perry Pinkert. So Dallas, I'm pretty sure they're not gonna hang this preseason loss over their head. Like we
Oh
said,
no.
it's only preseason, so they can only get better from here,
Right.
which we know they will based off of that win streak they went on last season.
Right.
Yeah. But moving on here to the next game, another rebrand again. This is the year of the rebrands. So we had the Oakland Otters and we had the Oceanside Surfs. This game was pretty good. Oceanside pulls it off 113 to 103. Oceanside being led by Dime Hardaway, who had 27 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and also Kobe Johnson, 20 points, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. And on the other side with Oakland, you got Javad Storm with 22 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, a block and steal. And I want to say Cam Jones. That's who I want to say. But what did you think about this one though, gamers?
um it'll really be interesting to see kind of what goes on in Oakland.
Hmm.
Um, they lost a lot roster
Hmm.
wise. Very another one of those unexpected type of things that happened during the off season. Just
Hmm.
I don't know if everybody here knows, but I think like half their team just kind of miraculously disappeared overnight. 3 or 4 of their players retired like in the same hour. Um, Not really sure what went down in Oakland, but whatever happened is they've still got a team.
Yeah.
Uh, they still got games to play on their schedule. I think um, I think they got to focus on what they're good at, and Oceanside. I mean, this is gonna be Oceanside was what Kentucky.
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were Kentucky.
All right. So Kentucky was on a warpath as well last season. Did not get the finish they wanted. I think they got what the first round exit. They
I
went up
believe so.
against Baltimore, and Baltimore kind of said, "Yeah, Kentucky who sent them all the way to Oceanside." So I mean, these are two interesting teams. I don't know everything that happened to Oceanside, who they lost, um, but it will be interesting, and I'm excited about all these rebrands. There are 7 teams that have
Yeah.
rebranded in some way or another. Of the 16 teams total, y'all can do the math on that, but that's a good chunk of teams that have decided to either change their color schemes or make a new logo, change locations, or do a combination of all three. So um, bear with us as we kind of talk and try to remember what teams are which because
Right.
um,
But yeah, so we're gonna go into our next game. Y'all are watching and listening to Mission to Mars podcast on Twitch, now on YouTube as well. We're on Gold Standard Sims Sports YouTube as well, and you can catch this on Spotify later tonight as well. But we're gonna move on into the next game here. We had San Antonio and the Boston Militia.
mm,
Boston took care of business 123-95. Before we talk about this game, though, I do want to bring somebody in. He is a part of the San Antonio Reapers, formerly the San Antonio Stampede, um one of their key players. So I want to bring in at this time, ladies and gentlemen, Biff Marcum.
Biff Markham.
Biff Marcum.
Marco. Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on, Biff? How you doing, man?
It's all good. How about you?
Doing pretty good, man. So we get ready to get into y'all preseason game here. It went away as a loss for y'all, but what were some things you took away from this game though?
We played pretty well in the first half. The second half, the game got away from us. We had too many turnovers.
Mhm.
Um, Powers lit me up, which pointed out some things I need to work on before that. Hopefully, I can get uh, solved before we play you guys in the second week of the season. Um, but um, the big thing was the turnovers and just that they had a stronger bench than we did, also. But
Mhm.
that to me, I thought our rookies like Overton, I thought had an excellent game.
Mhm.
Mm.
Uh, Woohoo, if he cuts down on those turnovers, I think he could be Rookie of the Year candidate. Um, and we have a lot of players that if we can get them just to spend their IP, we'll be in a pretty good position. But this game really was kind of like last year, where
Mhm.
it just showed where we had problems last year and that it's still here.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
They shot 60%, and we got to do a better job on defense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So moving into the season, I think we're gonna get into predictions later. I'm trying to look and see who y'all are playing next week. Y'all are playing Pittsburgh Steelhawks this coming week on Tuesday at 7:30. So don't forget to tune into that game, people. So what besides the changes that you feel like the team needs to make, especially after evaluating this preseason game, what can we expect from the San Antonio Reapers besides the rebrand this season?
I think uh, I think we can be a surprise team in the second half. I think we're going to have
Hmm.
to try to just hang in there the first half of the season. But once we get a few more progressions into our rookies, I think that we can start really, playing with anybody.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. And y'all
Yeah.
definitely have the squad to do it. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at y'all roster right now. I mean, you got Dior Island and you got Tim Tam Mills and Jar Duncan as well as more. So y'all basically got a good core of returners from last season, as well as the new guys like Overton and Woohoo and Anasta joining y'all roster. So I think y'all can definitely make a run. I'm gonna agree with you on that one. What you think, gamers?
No, I agree. Not to sound like I'm piggybacking. Uh, as I said earlier, every team is stacked. Um, this season, I really want to see Biff. I want to see the next step that you take, and I think that will be the if I'm gonna predict, I think Biff Markham becoming the superstar level that we know he can be, because he was an all-star last season. Don't forget, Biff. Did you forget?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know that I will be this season, but Biff's
But
kind of in a transition.
well,
To be, I'll just let the cat out of the bag. Biff is kind
oh,
of in a transition this
oh.
season.
But I think San Antonio's in a weird spot with the departure of Ethan Letterman. We talked about that earlier.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't see it as a bad thing. I see sometimes it's kind of like that whole trying to fit a square peg in a round hole thing. And San Antonio just couldn't seem to how to figure out what they wanted to do with Letterman, and I think it did. I think it cost you guys a few games last season. And even though he's such a great player, now it's kind of like you have to rely on strengths way more than that underlying X factor that you're just waiting to kind of pop off that just doesn't happen. And so I don't know. I agree with you, Biff. I think first half will take some time to kind of figure things out. You got to work in these rookies, new players. But second half of the season, it could be either a extremely strong finish, or yeah, it could be it could do you guys in. I think
Yeah.
y'all have the pieces though. Just have to make it all work.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll see a different Percy Cooper, for instance.
Hmm.
And I think
Hmm.
now we can't replace Letterman. That just
Okay.
isn't going to happen. But I
Right.
think you're going to
Right.
see more step up to where he's going to be starting to be part of the conversation that people have
Hmm.
this season.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Bill, we don't want to hold you for too much longer, man. We
Oh
appreciate you for coming. Oh, did you have another question, gamers?
no, I mean Bifkin, you can stay as long as you
Oh
like,
yeah,
man. We don't
yeah.
want you to
If you
go.
yeah, if you don't want to go, I mean, you welcome to stay with us, especially when it comes to the predictions, man. I'd love to get your opinion on that.
Okay. All right. I'll try to stick
All right, cool.
around, weather
All right.
permitting.
I got you. I got you. Just shoot me a message on the side if you gotta go and just let me know. But
All right.
but since Biff is gonna stick around, I'm gonna go ahead, gamers, and I'm gonna bring on our second guest right now.
Oh, oh snap.
Uh and we're gonna take it back real quick to the last game we discussed, which was the Oakland Otters and Oceanside Surfs, because our next guest is from the Oceanside Surfs. He had 20 points, one assist, steal, and block in the game, shot 9 of 12 from the field. Amazing from the 3-point line.
Oh wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring Kobe Johnson on.
Kobe!
Yes,
No
yes.
Kobe
way! I
Johnson.
was not expecting that.
Kobe Johnson
What
is
up? What
in
up?
the studio. What's going on, Kobe?
What's going on, guys?
Nothing much. How you doing, man?
Kobe!
Yeah, it's
Kobe.
good. It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. Good to have you on, man.
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
Kobe,
so just a little
Kobe.
while ago, so just a
Holy.
little while ago, we was talking about y'all game against the Oakland Otters, where y'all did win that game 113 to 103. So I guess I got two questions for it. How you feeling about the way y'all preseason game went, and what can we expect from the Oceanside Surfs this season?
Well, I think we played pretty well. You know, dime is dime. You know,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
expects me to step up my game. You know,
Hmm.
we have Bismack now. He looked pretty good out there. He did it. He did what he was supposed to do. And
Yeah.
then we got the young guys that's coming in as well. So we did pretty well. I know we got the Martians coming up. That's going
Yeah.
to be our yard. That's going to be our measuring stick right there.
Oh God. Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah, because them boy, them guys are good. So that's going to be our measuring stick. That's going to let us know what we need to improve on. But what we expect this season, we do expect to, be a contender.
mhm.
Right in there and right in that race. Hopefully, we finish out strong. Last season, we started off well, and then we just faded out. But this season, you know, we look to finish strong.
Yeah. So I was just looking at it too. So y'all finished the season last year 11-3. Went to the playoffs. First round, y'all played Baltimore,
Mm,
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 and
mm,
mm.
Baltimore basically took care of business. And I know a lot of people probably thought that y'all were going to beat Baltimore easily.
mhm,
I know I were one of them who thought
mhm,
that was going to be a walk in the park for y'all. So I was very shocked through when y'all were out the first round.
mhm,
So I guess I can definitely think that this season with the early exit that y'all had last year, y'all
mhm.
are gonna be out for vengeance this year.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, most definitely. That's a bad taste in our mouth.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
expected to go a lot further. We even expected to go to the championship. So,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, we gonna come out, with a chip on our shoulder, and
Mm,
and our goal is to be champions. That's
yeah.
our goal. So, it's and the thing is, we realize it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the key. Let's try to win these games, but let's finish strong, get in the playoffs, win the championship. That's our goal. But I can say that when we did lose our first game, we were exposed, and other teams copied right behind it. you know
Right. Right. Right.
so
Right.
we know what we needed to work on and improve on, and we still have a lot to improve on as well. So,
Yeah, for sure.
mhm.
Gamers, you got what you got, gamers? Game.
Um. I don't usually have any questions. I'm just excited you're here, man. Holy cow,
Mhm.
Kobe Johnson! I can't believe it. Holy freaking smokes! No.
well, Dime asked me. He was like, would you like to, get on the podcast? And I was like, he was like, Mission to Mars. I was like, most definite. These
Okay.
guys, man, they got a great show. I like their podcast, and
Oh,
so I'm like, yeah, I'll go.
we
So
appreciate it, man. We
Hey,
appreciate
yeah,
it.
we appreciate it, and
yeah,
you're welcome to stick around too,
Yeah,
like Biff is
yeah.
yeah,
going
Kobe,
through
we,
too
we're
as
gonna
well.
need you
So
for the predictions. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Hey,
let's
Kobe.
get to
Yes.
Uh
Hey, hey,
oh.
what did you feed Dime for the game, though? That's what I want to. I want to know what he ate before that game.
I don't know what he ate, but I tell you what, he was on fire. He didn't miss a shot.
yes, sir.
I'm like, yo, this dude didn't miss a shot. So
Crazy.
hopefully, I mean, we know that's the preseason. Everybody's not showing their hand. So, but I expect big things from Dimes. I really do. I expect a lot from this guy, from
Mm,
this brother,
Yeah, I think
and
you're right.
yeah, he just played angry. That's what it was. He was just
Mm.
pissed off, and I fed off his energy.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, well, if y'all keep playing like that, I'm gonna have to game plan my ass off against y'all this week. I'm
Yep, it's
telling you
about to
that
be
right
some
now, man.
sleepless nights.
It's some sleepless nights I'm about to have,
Yeah,
but it's gonna be a great game though. I can
yeah.
feel it. It's gonna be a real good game.
I
But
do too.
yeah, but let's get it moving to our next game here. This next game, we had another rebrand, and we had the debut of one of the two of the first female GSB players. I'm talking about the Vice City Kings in Atlantic City against the Sea Dogs. New court, new jerseys. I love the court, by the way. So shout out to Atlantic City for that. They'll probably be the only thing you hear me shout out to them about during the season. But this game, it came down. When I say it came down to the last second and the last shot, it came down to the last second and the last shot.
Wow.
So Vice City pulls it off 124 to 122 with basically a buzzer beater with, like, I want to say, like, point 0.4 tenths of a second left on the clock.
Wow.
Um and of course, like I said, I got to get into our one of our newest members of the GSB, one of our first female players, Gwen. She came through clutch at the end there. I think she hit 2 threes at the end to give them that little edge. But she did finish with 9 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. So she had a pretty good debut. Um, but as far as the Sea Dogs debut of Rashawn Carter, he had 25.7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and
Golly,
block.
man.
And let me tell you this. I said this during the game when I was commentating, but the way this Nets guy played, it made me feel like he's going to have definitely a better season than he had last year. And that's Ricky Spider. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, steal, and
Who?
block. Ricky Spider.
Who?
Ricky
Yeah, he had a good game.
Spider.
He's
He
still in the
had
league?
he's still in the league. He had a very good game. And
Okay, wow.
another guy from the other way who definitely had a great game as well, who was a rookie last season. This guy went off, and I'm talking about Emmanuel Blackman,
Oh,
27 points. He had 6 assists, 2 steals, 10 of 13 from the field, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line, 4 of 6 from the free throw line. He went off, and he's setting the scene for year 2 for him. What
yeah.
y'all think?
Man, you got to see all these games. I didn't get to see this game, so I'm gonna have to go back and find the file of this. So you saying
Yeah,
this game came down to the last second?
It came down to the very last second. I think Gwen came down court and she hit a corner 3 to tie the game up, I want to say.
Wow.
And literally, Vice City went down court real quick and hit a buzzer beater to win the game.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
yeah, it was the game of the week.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely the game of the week right there.
Holy cow. Yeah, I mean, that takes gusto right there. That takes guts to, because like I said, it's the preseason, and some teams they have that attitude. It's the preseason, but then you got some teams that they're out here, they're dogging it out in the preseason, trying to make a statement to the world. So um, no, that's impressive. Vice City, they're going to be a very interesting team. Atlantic City is also going to be a very interesting team. Both of these teams made some moves in the offseason and lost people, added people in. Um, I'm looking at, both of these teams almost had 60 points in the paint. That'll be interesting to kind of see going forward because we know last season Vice City was not really a 3-point shooting team. They
Mhm.
focused a lot of slashing, getting it inside to Pedraza, things like that. Whereas Atlantic City, they had more shooters, so it'll be interesting to see if Atlantic City will kind of attack the paint a bit more after losing some of their slashers. I know they got rid of Bismack, and you know, um,
Hey,
Kojaris is
hey
still
guys,
there.
I do have to leave. I just don't want to
But
leave
but
without letting you
but
know.
but but Biff, but
All right.
Hey, appreciate you for coming on, Kobe. You
yeah, we
welcome back
appreciate you.
anytime, man. Just hit
Yeah.
us up and let us know.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Take care, Kobe.
All right, take care, man.
All
All
right,
right.
peace out, Kobe.
Bye bye.
Peace. Kobe.
Peace. Oh, it was Biff
The
leaving. I was
man.
like, what?
Hey, Biff, I know you watch a lot of the games. Were you able to catch this game?
I did. Now I didn't catch all of it, but I caught the ending. I caught the start, but I kind of missed the middle
Ah,
of it. But I was like, for instance, in the first period, I thought that Gwen really carried the offense. I mean, she finished with 6 assists. They all came in the first period. And
hmm
I mean, she was just a driving force. She wasn't shooting there in the first period, but she was creating points for the team.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was responsible for 22 points on the team as well.
Wow, wow.
So she had a very good game. And like you said, on the other end, Vice City, they're gonna be all right this season. I believe they're gonna be all right. One thing I would have loved to see I know I'm gonna see it during the off season, but I would have loved to see more of Truck Turner and King James
Mm-hmm.
producing.
Yeah.
But they had the guys pick up the slack for that, like EJ Blackman and Billy Bob Buckley, Zima Blue. Those guys really picked up the slack for where Turner and James were lacking during that game, if you ask me. So
Well, and
that
Buckley was
was,
fun to watch. He
yeah,
was just fun to
definitely.
watch.
Uh-oh. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was definitely a good game. If you did miss that game, I guarantee, please go back and watch that game. If you don't even watch no other quarters from the game, watch that fourth quarter. It was a very, very good game. But we're gonna keep it moving here. Going to the last night of the week, rounding out our preseason. We did have another rebrand. We had the Pittsburgh Steelhawks and the New York Skyliners. New York pulls it off 116 to 121. I know Gamer said he had to step away for a minute. So Biff, did you catch this one?
I did not. I had some weather issues, so I missed this
Ah,
one.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but
So
just looking at the box score, this
yeah.
reminds me of the old New York, where you just had to
hmm
flat out outscore them because they're going to put points up. And to me, that's here in the preseason, just now again, based on just the box score. But you see Greg Lake looking like Greg Lake of old, Counterman looking
hmm
like Counterman of old, Ant Thomas just being Ant Thomas.
Right.
And so, I think, New York had a rough season last year, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, based on these box scores, I think they've righted their ship somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to stream. Can you guys hear me? Because
Yeah.
I had to rejoin. But I got to stream this game. This was the first game I ever got to stream. I was so happy that it didn't crash. But anyway, yeah. Um, I said last season during Mission to Mars, there's a couple of coaching jobs in my opinion that would have been not a cakewalk, but kind of like a, hey, if this person wanted to start their career coaching in the GSB, they should go to New York. They had such a talented team last year. I don't know why. Well, I have my theories on why they finished and played the way that they did. Um, and yeah, I think they might have righted some of the ship.
hmm
Um, thing is, though, is that they played against Pittsburgh, who was bleeding, as an organization when Penny took over, formerly Virginia. They were just bleeding out on the table. It felt like need life support, and he brought some life support, and they have a very good team in Pittsburgh. So at first I was kind of like, you can't really take this too seriously. But then you start looking at Pittsburgh's roster, and you're like, oh no, this was a very good team that New York just kind of slowly. It was a very slow bleed that they were able to kind of take the lead in this game because they had a couple of moments where Pittsburgh was winning and then New York would do something and they take it back and then but New York was able to kind of hold on to about a 5 to 10 point lead for a good little bit of like the first half. Going into the second half, Pittsburgh caught back up, tied it up, and then New York kind of took the lead again late. Yeah, they have a lot of pieces in New York. It will be very interesting to see that dichotomy of Sarah Counterman and Greg Lake, how that's going to work.
hmm
Because they both need the ball in their hands to kind of make things, make their magic happen. But it's one of those things where if you get them both hot in the same night, there's really not a team that can really stop that. So um, and yeah, I'm excited to kind of see what New York will do with their revamped roster, and then I'm also kind of excited to see what Pittsburgh is going to do with their roster. They brought in very, 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 very premium talent at certain positions, and yeah, they've got some holes. They've got some rookies that they're breaking in. They've got inexperienced guys that they're going to be breaking in, but for them to put up 116 and their kind of their first live action against another GSB team
Mm,
after much of the offseason, it looks good. There's a lot of things that they need to work on, it looks like, but they won the rebounding battle. They won the free throw battle. They won the 3-point battle. Got to clean up turnovers and probably try and force some more turnovers of their own and be a little bit more create more havoc on defense. But they were in this game for much of the game. They did not look like they were outmatched. It just looked like they didn't execute in a couple of different sets, and
right.
so it'll be
Hey,
interesting.
what about Prince Revels, man?
Ah,
An impressive
don't even
double
get me.
double.
I mean, he's one of my favorite. I remember calling games back in the prospect league when he was a prospect, and I could just look at him and see, yeah. I mean, he doesn't look like everybody else. He's a little bit of a smaller size, but
Mm,
he is a streaky shooter. He's got a sweet stroke. He. I mean, he is definitely one of my favorite players from that rookie class, and I don't know. A lot of people don't see the kind of talent he has. But yeah, I think now that he's in a position where he can kind of be the guy, yeah, I just think he's gonna excel. He just seems like that type of person. Like
yeah.
once you
Yeah, he
give
could
him the
be this year's
keys, he's gonna.
Matterly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think he could be this season's Maddenly and just kind of like make Pittsburgh his own and just be comfortable with his style of play, and they're going to need it. And I think that's going to be the driving force. Is Pittsburgh is going to need it. They're going to be some games where it's going to be very, very close for them, and they're going to need that spark. And I think you've got the right person in Prince Revels who can come in, do his job, make that shot. He'll need to work on defense, of course, but I think scoring wise, they have the options there. They just have to make sure that they're using everything properly, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
absolutely.
Ricky Spider, you are not the guy. Sit down.
All right, we're gonna move into the last game of preseason here. Unfortunately, there was a crash in the
Yeah,
final 2 minutes of this game,
and
but
don't
Oh, that
I
was
don't
it
want
didn't.
anyone blaming me for the crash. It had nothing to do with me. OBS, it said that OBS crashed out and whatever. Um, but I
Mm,
don't know.
and the score is completely wrong on here. It was not 11-69. Let's just put that out right now. The
Oh
final
yeah,
score actually was I want to say was it 116-69?
I thought it was.
yeah, it was
Yes,
pretty lopsided.
it
One,
was. Yeah, it was very. It was getting out of hand.
yeah,
Yeah.
116-69 was the final score to this game. Um, yeah,
Ty
so
White came
I
out hitting
say
threes
what?
right there from the start. Ty White came out just hitting threes from the start of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Ty White, another female who is now playing in GSB.
dude.
She played
Oh,
a phenomenal game.
moly.
Especially that second half. You really saw the
Yeah.
versatility of her, where she was driving in on guys. Um, she started dunking on people.
Yeah.
Ty White had a tremendous game as well as Jason Peace. Both of them held it down. Brent Lane
Yeah.
came off the bench and he had a great game. As
Mhm.
for me, you know me, it was preseason. I really wanted to evaluate the rest of my team as an owner,
Yeah.
except for
Yeah.
worry about myself. So I didn't play myself a lot of minutes. Um, Most had a pretty good game too. He had a pretty
Uh,
good game.
some things I gotta work on, of course. Like shooting the actual ball, but you know,
Hmm.
we'll you know,
But
I'm meeting with our coaches this tomorrow, and we're gonna, just you gotta take shots when you get the shots. And I like to
mhm,
pass. I like to get everyone involved. But Al was telling me, hey man, if I pass you the ball and you're wide open from the corner, just shoot it, man. It's gonna go in. So
yeah,
I just gotta take the shots when I have them instead of always trying to get the pass. But you know,
Just
I
don't miss a free throw.
just don't miss a free throw.
please.
And, But Ty White was my player of the game. To me
Hmm.
personally, I didn't. I mean, I had some expectations for Ty coming in. I think we kind of. I could not help myself. I was smiling when she hit that first corner three because I was not expecting her to take that three at all.
Hmm.
Um, and she caught it in rhythm and she went straight up. The confidence. It's the confidence that Ty plays with that I think it's just like I don't know what's the word. It gets everybody else like in a better rhythm and a better
Fired
mood. She
up.
just fired up. That's the word. Thank you. The
Yeah.
confidence that she played with during that game, even though it's preseason, um, it just feels like you can rely on her pretty early on in the season. Because there was some concern. Obviously, Ty she missed all of last season. She did not play a single game. She did not work out at all last season. So there was a bit of a risk there with getting someone like Ty in. We knew that there were going to be some things we had to work on in the off season,
Hmm.
catch her up to speed, get her back into conditioning, get her into game shape. And she was just like all for it. So everything that we needed her to do, she did. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was good to see her kind of ball out. She had a breakaway dunk. She posterized a person. She hit a couple of threes, had some flashy layups, passed, ran the offense. We really experimented with a couple of different lineups. We wanted to see versatility.
Hmm.
That's kind of our theme for this season, in my opinion, is versatility. We need people to play multiple roles, multiple positions, and be comfortable because last season, uh, we had some instances where we kind of were like, we don't know how we're going to approach this matchup, and now we know we have some pieces that we can move things around, and we're not going to be stuck just doing one thing or tackling it one way. We can tackle some different instances in a lot of different ways. We can play small ball, big ball, whatever we need to do. Could put five guards out on the court at once if we want to. Um, so we can do a lot of interesting things. And so Portland,
Yeah.
I was expecting a little bit more from Portland this game. And they did. First half, we were kind of starting to roll them, and then they started hitting some shots. Ralph Rodriguez or Rodriguez, he's incredible for
Hmm.
them. He made some big time shots that I was not expecting him to make. Very comfortable. Um, Rashadi Ish, I said it during the broadcast. No one will be able to stop Rashadi Ish. Man is a beast, and I think he will be an all-star for them.
Yeah.
Because of what they've lost. They're going to need to rely on him heavily, and he can go in and get you 25 and 8 a game. So,
Yeah. And
um,
I think it's important to remind the people, regardless of the score, Portland is basically rebuilding their
mhm,
whole squad. The team we went against, it had some good returners from last season, but they had a lot of guys who they had to go get in the draft this year as well. So these guys they had like a lot of rookies out there playing and stuff like that. So it's kind of like how the Martians was season 7. I mean, not season 7, season 2,
right.
where we didn't most of our guys was coming in from either the draft or from another team and was a ghost or something like that. So I think they're just going through that phase right now, but I can definitely see Portland getting better and better as the season
Mhm,
progresses as well.
mhm. Yeah, no, I think they'll have a few games where they'll be able to get some wins, be extremely competitive. Like I said, you got someone like Rashadi Ish. Um, if they kind of play some of that style like they did last season, focus heavily on defense and making it a low scoring game, yeah, they can sneak out a few wins where maybe they shouldn't have a shot. If they can hold another team's best player to well below their average, or if they're going up against a team that only has one or two kind of superstar players, you take one away, or you force the bench to have to play, and yeah, they've given themselves a shot. It just kind of depends on like the effort and um, figuring out the best season system for them while they're kind of transitioning with all the crazy stuff that just I'm just such a weird off season as far as teams kind of just miraculously losing half of their team, or you
Yeah.
know
Yeah, but I think season 4 is definitely going to be a good season for sure. Definitely like a lot of these preseason games um was very competitive. Um especially with the new things that we did see.
Mhm.
But I think it's going to be a very good season for sure. But we do have to say goodbye to Biff though because he has to get ready to leave us. So Biff, thank you for coming
Okay.
on, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. And you guys have a great night.
All
Thank you,
right, you too,
Biff.
man. Take care, man.
Yeah.
All right, y'all are watching Mission to Mars live on Twitch, live on YouTube, and streaming on Spotify. So, gamers, before we
Yes,
continue,
sir.
man, we got a little bit of news to get into. Before we get before we before we get to the predictions, because I do got to pay some bills around here
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and bring some of the league news. So, last night for GSB we did have a GSB town hall where a couple of things were announced. One of the biggest things that was announced last night was Shalom Marino, aka Assured Fame, has been announced as the new owner of the Ohio basketball team. So we
Wow.
definitely want to shout him out for that and congrats. And there was a trade that did go down um earlier. I want to say either earlier today or last night, to where he could get over to his new team and get the ball rolling on things of that sort. I do have that trade information right here. I want to say if I can find it. Where is it? Here it is. All right, so Shiloh Marino did get traded from the Motor City Muscle since he is the owner of the Ohio basketball team,
Mhm.
and the Ohio basketball team sent Joey Phillips to Motor
Wow.
City. And Motor City for Shiloh did send 5 season 5 IP as well.
Wow.
So definitely interesting. And congrats to Shiloh Assured Fame once again for
Yeah.
getting on the becoming the owner. So what you think about that as I get ready to bring in our next
So
guest here?
that's a very interesting proposition. No, congrats to Shiloh. I mean, team ownership, people don't really understand. It's really hard to kind of express in words how it feels to be an owner until you are one, the type of thing. You just you don't take it for granted, but it is so rewarding because you're helping out people. You're game planning. You're looking at the game in such a different way. So this is such a great opportunity for him.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, no, it does. It's at a weird time right at the end of preseason. I'm sure Motor City was not expecting that. Probably would have not played him in their game. If they had known, Glass had known he was going to Ohio to take over, it probably would not have given them those minutes because now you got to figure out what your team looks like without him.
Hmm.
But getting someone like Joey Phillips was had a crazy season last season, in my opinion. One of the most underrated seasons last year. Looked so good for Ohio down the stretch. Was making all kinds of crazy shots, defensive plays. Definitely went from like a who is this to a household name, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm happy for Shiloh. Um, I think he's already made a couple messages in the owner's chat,
Yeah.
trying to get to work. Your first week, when you're taking a new type of job like this, your first week or 2 weeks will really kind of tell how your season is going to go as far as if you can get your team to buy into kind of what you're selling. So, um, but Ohio's another. I mean, it's an interesting job. I mean, they were poised for a really interesting type of situation at the end of the last season. I mean, they made it to the championship series, and then you unexpectedly lose your MVP.
Mhm.
And then your owner also decides to retire, and you trade away one of your more interesting prospects in Scout Mitchell, and now you got a couple holes that you got to fill. So we'll see how Marino handles the team. And there's not. I mean, there's a little bit he can do right now, but there's not as much as he can do right now. Given it's not really off season anymore. It's week one, baby.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he feels like the team can be competitive right now, which I think they can, or if do you start selling off things, trying to do a rebuild, and so we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. So the next thing that they did announce in the town hall, and that I'm so happy to be ready to spend my money for, is the GSB store will be opening
Ooh,
next week. So it is back, y'all. You can get all your favorite team gear, shirts, hoodies, um, gloves, whatever you want. They're gonna have it in the team store. The only thing that it sounds like they're not gonna have is the jerseys, but stay tuned for that. But the GSB store is back next week, and you'll get some more
baby.
information on that next week as well. The last thing that they did want me to announce, so I can make sure I pay all my bills, as I'm saying, is that GSB did officially land two big sponsors.
Oh yeah.
We don't have a lot of information on it yet, but GSB have landed two big sponsorships. So shout out to our admin team, especially Brent. We heard that he was really working behind the scenes to get this deal done, and it got done. So just stay tuned for that. Details will come out very, very soon about that. So with that being said, I'm gonna bring this next guy on in here, gamers, because I think he was saying he was having some sound issues.
Oh.
Hopefully, it works out when he get in here. He wanted to come on, so we got him in here, ladies and gentlemen. We got Puff in the building.
Oh my gosh! What is going on?
Puff, what
Oh,
up?
just chilling at home, listening to the podcast. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I
Yes,
can hear you
sir.
perfectly. This is like the best I've ever heard you in my entire life.
Oh, dang. Must be on my end. Then you guys sound like a couple of robots, but maybe
Oh,
that's what Martians are. I don't know.
beep boop beep boop.
Who knows? Who knows? Hey, so Puff, let me start off real quick. Let's go back real quick to y'all game last this past week. You played very, very well in that preseason game. How you feeling about that? And how you feeling about the season, man?
I mean, I've said it multiple times. I think it was a ruse. I think I should not be shooting 16 times a game. You guys know. I mean, as Al says, Puff
Yes.
doesn't shoot. I mean,
You
there's
shot it
definitely
well this week though.
it was definitely a botch stream if I went 3 for 4 from three. I think that's more threes than I made the entire season last year. So it'll
Damn.
be interesting. We'll see if we'll see if it was because the defense, as Reagan's and them were arguing in chat, like you gotta put money on defense. When even a bad shooter can score against bronze badges.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, we definitely glad to have you in here, and it's definitely gonna be good because we got you in here for this next segment. We're about to do some predictions for the first
Oh,
week
baby.
of the GSB season, but first, y'all know I got to cue the video, so we'll be back after the prediction video. All right, we back, and here we go. Here goes the predictions, and for all y'all in the chat, make sure everybody in the chat puts your predictions as well. so we can know who y'all got for this week's games. But starting on Monday, the first official game of the GSB season,
Mm.
we got the Atlantic City Sea Dogs against the Ohio basketball team. Puff, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Who you got?
I mean, I'm going with the high school team allegedly, according to Ho Jarris. But yeah, I mean, I can't not pick Ohio. There's no way.
Mm, Gamers, who you got?
This is going to be a good game, in my opinion. Puff, I think you're the truth. So I'm going with the Ohio basketball team.
Yeah, the way they played this week, there's no way I can see them losing this game. So I'm definitely going with
As,
Ohio
as,
too.
as much as I love Ricky Spider, I don't know, man.
Sorry, Ricky. Ricky's gonna have a good game though.
I
I'll
know. I
predict
can
Ricky is
see,
gonna have a good
like,
game,
right,
but it's
right.
not
I
gonna
can
be enough.
see us getting two birds with one stone. I can see Atlantic City having a great game. I can just see Ohio having a better game and winning by like 5 or 6 points, type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, so we shall see. I don't want to do a score prediction. That starts getting tricky, and but I think it could be. I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. Puff, you're a defensive guru, although the offenses have changed a little bit since season one, season two. But we'll see. Kind of, I think you're the truth, man. I think you're going to drop 40 points, just to be honest.
I
So,
don't know. I have the scoring record against me, so
oh
I don't
wow,
think
damn.
I don't think Puff is defensive anymore.
Okay, well we'll see. We'll see.
We
He
definitely gonna
called us
see.
bums. All
Dang,
right,
Ricky.
Ricky.
All right, next game that night, prime time. We got the Las Vegas Spades against the Vice City Kings. Gamers, who you got?
I'm sick of trying to pick against Las Vegas, Baltimore, so I'm gonna pick Las Vegas in this one. I do think the Vice City Kings have an incredibly deep team. I think this is more of who's ready kind of right now versus who will be ready at the end of the season. I think Las Vegas will be ready right now, just given they didn't have a lot of turnover on the roster. They can run the same systems that they ran last season because they almost got to the championship game, so championship series. So um, I don't know if they really had to tweak their game plan too much. Whereas Vice City had to work on a lot of different things, move in some different pieces. I think Las Vegas. I guess I'm using all this rant to say I think Las Vegas will win this game. Might be close. It won't be like their pre. It won't be like Las Vegas' preseason game. Won't be by 20 points. Unless Vice City just makes a bunch of mistakes and stuff like that. But I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, Puff, who you got?
As much as I hate agreeing with gamers, I do think Reagan's has always been one of the guys that has been
You hate
kinda-
agreeing with me? Wait, what?
Reagan's has always had kind of he's always been ahead of the curve a little bit. He's been one of the coaches that's always been good no matter what the changes were. Also, late Vegas has put a decent amount of money into defense, whereas I think Vice City might need a little bit of upgrade on their shooting, which they can get there. I just think they are built more like a season one team, and
Mhm.
a lot of us got to get back to being a 24 team.
Yeah, I think there's a saying in Las Vegas, you always bet on black. I want to say that's the saying. But in GSB, I think it's going to be always bet on Tim Riggins. So I'm definitely thinking Vice City is going to take this. I mean, not Vice City. I definitely think Las Vegas. Forgive me. I definitely think Las Vegas is going to take this game. It's going to be close up into the fourth quarter, but I think they're going to nudge it out and win. And I can see Tim Riggins with over 20 points in that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Moving on. Tuesday.
He's dead.
We got San Antonio against Pittsburgh Steelhawks. I'll start this one off. Pittsburgh looked very good. I have a few worries about San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think San Antonio is gonna be very well. down the stretch, but I don't think it's going to be enough this first game. So I'm gonna say Pittsburgh is going to take this. What you got, Puff?
Well, this is a hard one for me because I mean, like I said, I haven't been all that active the last month. San Antonio though does have a tendency to start a little slow. You do have Pittsburgh basically almost starting back over from scratch. I'm going to go with San Antonio because I think they have a little bit of a little bit more continuity, from the coaching staff.
Indeed, Gamer. So you got.
Well, I hate to agree with Puff, but I'm going Pittsburgh. I think what they brought in, they've got Truck, Ackles, they've got Dex, Matty. Pittsburgh has a scary team on paper. They don't have depth. Whereas San Antonio's team doesn't scare me, but they've got a deeper team. But I think Pittsburgh will. I think they'll come out and punch first, and then you got the reigning defensive player of the year in Ackles in the paint, and I think San Antonio's going to want to drive a lot because I mean they've got Dior Ireland as a shooter, but besides him, who else is really going to get you buckets from deep? So you're gonna have to slash. And if Pittsburgh runs a little zone and just sits Truck in the paint there, San Antonio's not going to be able to score much. So we'll see. I do think it'll be a close game. This might be one of the few games that Pittsburgh is completely, match. I think on paper they match up well against San Antonio, so that's why I'm picking them. I don't know how they match up against everybody else, but San Antonio, like you said, Ingram, San Antonio's got a couple of holes, things that they need to work on. They're gonna go through this whole life after Letterman type of thing. So we'll see. Hope maybe I'm wrong, but my gut is telling me Pittsburgh for some reason.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the next game, that Thursday night 9:30 game. A game that was pretty interesting. These teams played each other, I think, either 2 times or 3 times last season.
Mm-hmm.
But Boston Militia and the New York Skyliners. Gamers, who you got?
Yeah, these are old divisional rivals. They both played in the Atlantic Division or whatever it was called. But Boston looked incredible there in the preseason game by the score. I didn't get to see it. New York also looked good. They've got really good pieces. I don't know, man. I think it's finally that I think it's that year that Boston finally joins the fray and it makes that move up instead of being considered the season 2 expansion team, blah blah blah. I think it's finally they've been in. This will be their 3rd season in the league. I think it's time for them to kind of make that push, and getting a game like this against a revamped New York team would mean a lot. So we'll see. I think Boston can try and take this win against the Greg Lake, New York, and Counterman, and all these other pieces that New York has. So,
Yeah. Puff, who you got?
Well, I think the interesting thing is we can. Is there enough ball to share between Counterman, Lake, and Ant Thomas? I mean, they're all relatively ball dominant players. The other big thing is how bad is Kingdom Warrior going to dominate? Wired's player. Hopefully, or not Wired. Nighthawk. I might get kicked out of the league for that one. Sorry. Oh man. But I think that's a big thing. Is like, can New York share the ball? Can anyone guard Kingdom Warrior on New York? But I think once again I'm going to go with. I got to go with my national team coach and go with Boston.
I gave New York a lot of crap last season. I think me gamers and Rayman, shout out to Rayman, we gave New York a bunch of crap last season. So before we give them crap this season, I'm gonna give them a chance to prove themselves this game, and I'm gonna go New York is gonna win. I think they're gonna find a way to distribute that ball perfectly, especially with the addition of Greg Lake. This is definitely not looking like the New York team from last season. So I'm gonna give them a chance to prove themselves this game. So if they win, you ain't got to worry about me talking trash. But if they lose, I might be choosing against them for the rest of the season. I'm just saying. So that's how I feel about it. But moving on, next game. Hey, what do you know? Oh, well, I skipped for a second. Hold on. There we go. All right. Oceanside Surfs, Albuquerque Martians.
Uh
Puff, who
oh.
you got?
I mean, if I pick a certain team, will I get kicked out of the podcast?
You will not this time.
But no, honestly, like the big thing is I'm looking at the the additions, subtractions. Um, Albuquerque, big pickup. I think very under the radar is Monty Clark. Um, a little bit of a do everything, great team player. Um, Ty White's player was out of the league for one season, so it'll be interesting to see, how much IP was lost between, you know, Justin Banks and her player. And then, I mean, I'm going to go with Albuquerque because I think the two rookies compared to only one is the biggest difference that I'm seeing.
Gamers, what you got? Even though I think I know what your answer is going to be.
Ah, man, I love Kobe. I love Dime. I love Ocean Side Surf, but I got to go with the Martians. Um, I do think it'll be an interesting game for us. They kind of present the kind of challenge that is very hard for us at this
hmm
point because we're working on a lot of things, especially rotation wise. And so when you have someone like a Dime Hardaway or Kobe Johnson that's so comfortable, they're vets. They know how to get buckets. Kind of, it's just hard to explain that the veteran presence that they bring. They can kind of pick apart a lot of weaknesses. So we have to make sure everything is kind of strong out the gate, or they could take advantage of us pretty early on. And um,
hmm
I'm not exactly sure how many minutes they're going to be playing, so gotta make sure that we match up pretty well in all of our rotations to slow them down and also be able to execute. Um, so, but I like us in this matchup. We got all stars. They got all stars, but we got all stars too. And um, I think our roster this year, although it is very similar to what it was last season, I think we're working in some new things. So I don't think a lot of teams will be ready for the twist that we're going to bring. So I'm excited. It'll be a good game. I'm
Yeah,
ranting.
I think one of the things that I love about our roster this year is that we have a lot of active guys in our locker room compared to the last two seasons where we had to deal with ghosts. But we made a clear decision this season that we were going to make sure we have some active guys coming into our locker room. So that's with bringing Ty back to GSB. Shout out to Ty. Getting her to come back and rejoin and join the organization, not only as a player but as one of our scouts. And then we really needed somebody to fill the role of the curator. Um, we did lose him. We did lose Adam Sala. We did lose Justin Banks. But I believe the people who we picked up in the offseason with Most Feared, with Ty, with Monty, we definitely filled those roles. And as well with Banks too, as well as losing Banks as well. So
Yeah.
I think even though we lost Banks, Banks was naturally a point guard
Mhm.
playing small guard. I mean, not small guard,
Shooting
shooting
guard.
guard.
Right. Right. Right.
So that wasn't his natural position. So we wanted him to spread his wings somewhere and get to play his natural position. But with letting him go, we got a good two guard and Ty, who that's their natural position. They play it well, and it's a good 1-2 combo coming off the bench with John Fowler. Um, as far as Oceanside, Martians, Oceanside, two teams who I think um got bounced from the playoffs earlier than what they expected.
Yeah.
Definitely probably would have expected that would have been a good matchup if they would have met in the finals as well. But a
Mhm.
matchup with two playoff teams from season three, it's gonna be a battle. You can't expect nothing less with these two teams. So I say we're gonna win it. I have to be partial to my team, of course, but I say it's still going to be a very good game, and they're definitely going to challenge us, especially when it comes down to the game plan as well. So
I do think Albuquerque might take the Josh 2.0 role as the biggest bust of the draft, though, this season.
why you say that?
I mean, he only had one draft pick, so I got to give Gamers some crap.
Yeah.
Since he won't fight me in the ring yet.
Hey, hey, Kobe just said it best. We love those guys over there, but when we on the court, we ain't friends. So, hey, Kobe, I ain't got nothing but respect for you off the
Kobe.
court. But on the court, bro, it's a totally different. When we on the court, we gotta lock in, man. We become enemies then, and then we can go back to being friends once we get out the court, regardless of whatever the score is. But it's definitely gonna be a good game for sure.
It's gonna be a battle.
Yeah. But
Because
moving
we
on
just made
here.
it one.
Yep. Moving on here, we got the Oakland Otters, Portland Pioneers. This is easy for me. I'm just gonna go ahead and put my prediction out. I think Oakland's gonna win this one. What you think, Puff?
I'm the same way. I mean, Oakland, yeah, they struggled last season, but I, have inside information that they basically weren't able to upgrade pretty much the last 6 weeks of the season. So hopefully all those points are in. They have the better shooting team too. Having inside information, the three guys that stayed in Portland, unfortunately, we struggled getting any of our guys to shoot decently except for Savage, and he's gone. So I think shooting's gonna be the big difference.
Yeah. What you think, gamers?
I agree with you too. Both of these teams are in a weird position. I mean, Oakland lost a lot, but like Puff said, they had some progression issues that kind of held them back even further than they should have been. And although they got a team,
Yeah.
they brought in some people, but still, I think this is going to be a slugfest. I do think Oakland is the better team still. Portland really does feel like it's a complete rebuild type of situation there.
They're a very young team.
A very young team. You got guys like Sean Robinson who are kind of they make me think of like those NBA journeymen, like he's in the league, but he just hasn't figured out exactly how to cement himself, I think. And so it would be interesting to see what kind of season Sean has. He was a Martian. We had a lot of plans for him. He needed a new, some new scenery, and so we granted that wish for him. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in his previous stop, and then he made it to Portland, and they had a really strong team last year. I mean, you guys did have a good team, Puff. Just for whatever reason, things just could not shake the way that they needed to. But yeah, no, I think Oakland will win this game. I think it'll be close. Rashadi-ish will make this a game, in my opinion. If Oakland does not have a very good way of slowing him down, then yeah, Portland could sneak this game out. I mean, they did last season. But I'm gonna go with Oakland.
Sounds good. All right, and then going into our last games on Thursday, we got the Motor City Muscle and Nola Riders. Puff, who you got for this one?
I mean, I got New Orleans. I just don't think Motor City's got the perimeter defense to stop, Matherly and Gaucher. I mean, I could see potentially the scoring record being in jeopardy during this game.
Wow.
Wow.
For single player.
Bold. Oh, who do you think is going to go off?
I think Gaucher.
Gaucher.
I mean, if Puff can put up 24 on a team, I mean, Gaucher should put up 50. I mean, I hate to say it, but
well, on that note, gamers, who you got?
This man speaks some wise words, so I'm gonna go with Nola. I think they kind of had a slow off season, and then all of a sudden it was like boom, bam, bang. They made some huge moves. They made some trades, got some picks, brought in some assets. Nola looks better than ever, and I think similar to Kentucky, or excuse me, Oceanside, they were kind of on a warpath last season. They were a fringe kind of playoff team. They missed the playoffs. They had some games where they just completely could not put things together. I think this season they'll put everything together, and O'Shea's going to lead the way. He's gotten better every single season he's been in the league. He's definitely become one of the faces of the league as far as administratively and what he does game plan wise off the court, that type of thing. So, Motor City, yeah, this is going to be it's going to be a tough start. This is not the way you might want to start your season. And they could come out, they could definitely surprise us. I just think Nola's got too many weapons as far as the ceiling of Gaucher. I mean, like Puff said, he could drop 50. I think Gaucher could go for a scoring record, depending on the matchup he gets.
Yeah.
And if they're going to feed him the entire game, type of thing. So we'll see. Could be
Yeah,
a
for
good game.
sure. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely gonna take New Orleans on that one, and I definitely agree. That I can see Gaucher having a big game, possibly 40 during that game as well. And then our last game, the last one of the week, definitely I think it's gonna be a very good game. I think this is game of the week material right here. Seattle Orcas versus the Dallas Flying Stallions. Both of these teams went on an amazing win streak last year. Um, Starting at the middle half of the season. Even though Dallas got bounced out of the playoffs first round, Seattle did very well to keep their win streak intact and eventually win the championship. But who y'all got? Either one of y'all can start. Whoever start talking first.
Um, yeah, this is game of the week for a reason. This is the defending champs versus possibly the hottest team to kind of end the season in Dallas. So um, I had this game circled. It's kind of sad that it's week one matchup. I wish it was more of like a week 6 or 7 once the season's kind of in that pace. But because week one you can't really take too much away from week one. You can, but you can't at the same time because teams are either going to adjust for the better or for the worse type of thing. So, but this will be interesting to kind of see where Dallas is at. They lost another team that lost a lot of pieces unexpectedly. Um, Trying to figure things out. They didn't have the best preseason game. But you can never really count out Just Blaze, Cannon Abel, those type of players. So, Seattle, I didn't get to see their preseason game either. They got beat by the Riders, right? Lost to New Orleans.
Yeah.
So, both of these teams are going to be looking to start the season out 1-0. I'm going to go with Seattle. They're the defending champs. But don't be surprised if Dallas makes this a game. They're an amazing organization. So they're not going to make it easy.
Indeed.
And
What you got, Puff?
Yeah, same thing with me. Like I think the big difference is you look at Dallas. They're not very big. Yes, they do have the offensive, tandem of Canaan Abel and Cherry Jello, but what team shuts down guards better than any other team in the league? It's Seattle. I've played them. I hate playing them. They're just a massive pain to play. Then they got that 3-headed monster downsize. I mean, they're probably the biggest team in the league. I think that's going to be the biggest difference. I mean, unless Dallas finds a way to pull their bigs out of the paint, so they can actually get some rebounds. I just think Seattle's got the defense to shut them down, and they're only big. They did lose Butch Harrison. Jason Snyder is a downgrade, but he is also a season 1 player. You got to think the Stearns fixed, the Taiwanese dragon that multiple teams tried to get him going. And then all of a sudden he goes there and he's averaging 14 points a game. So I mean, honestly, I think the Stearns and their crew is probably the best game planning staff in the league. And I just think they got the slight talent advantage too, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm gonna go Seattle on this one. They are a very very good offensive and defensive team, especially in the paint. Like you just said, the Stearns are definitely some of the best um game planners in the league. I mean, they got named coaches of the year for a reason last
Yep.
season.
Yep.
So I'm definitely gonna go with them too as well, winning this game. So it's gonna be a close one, but it's definitely gonna be interesting as well. Yeah. But so with that being said, it's about that time, y'all. But before we get ready to wrap up for tonight's podcast, I just want to go around the room one final time, and I want um to hear from you guys. What are you most excited about for season 4? Let's start with you, Puff.
I mean, I'm excited. Tune in Monday. Puff is going to grow his hair back. So that's some pretty big. That's some pretty big news. I'm excited for that.
All right, what about you, gamers?
Well, this will be my first season having a player. After being in this league, what now, for 3 seasons, I finally decided to make my player. The most feared will make his debut this week, but no, just another season of GSB action. I love this league. This is my main league. Um, I do a lot for this league, so finally, kind of starting to get into streaming to help out and stuff like that will be interesting. And the different things that the admins have tried to do to kind of build the league. You know, we've got people in doing marketing. We've got this whole new approach and everything, and all these cool special things that are finally seeming to pay off. All the blood, sweat, and tears that me and Ingram have put into this league is definitely paying off. I mean, we're streaming now on Restream. It made doing the podcast a lot easier. I'm assuming, right, Ingram?
Yeah, it's a
So
whole lot easier.
it's a lot easier. Um, someone, did you really just type that, Puff? I swear to God, man. But just
That's messed
no,
up.
just a lot of things that just exciting. It feels like we finally have our team fully active, which is a big deal in the GSB. Activity equals, opportunity and stuff like that. So, um, I'm excited for the season. We'll see how things go. I'm trying not to have all these crazy expectations, although we will do a goal sheet. I will do my goal sheet tonight and send it over to Ingram with what I expect for this season. And then, we're just going to hit the ground running week 1. What about you, Ingram? What are you excited about?
Man, I'm just excited to just start the season up again, even though it's an exciting time, but it's stressful as a coach and an owner as well, being up late nights getting your game plan ready. I know I probably stressed my wife out a couple of times this season, especially during the playoffs. And she told me the other night she never seen me as stressed out about making game plans as she did during the playoffs. So I'm gonna try not to stress out this much this season. I do know my man Gamers and Ty is gonna hop on there and game plan some
Yeah,
this
yeah,
season as well while I'm out of town with the family and things of that sort. So it's gonna be a very good season. Very exciting. A lot of new aspects coming to the league this season. Excited to be also streaming as well this season. With my man gamers over there and doing a lot more things. So it's going to be a very good season. I think this is going to be a very very interesting season of GSP basketball this year.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But all right, we getting ready to get up out of here though. Hope everybody enjoyed tonight's podcast, first episode of season 4 for Mission to Mars. It was a great episode. Shout out to Bill for joining us. Shout out to Dom for joining us. Shout out to Puff for joining us.
Kobe.
And Kobe, yeah. Shout out to Kobe. Did I say Dom? I meant
Yeah,
Kobe. Sorry, Kobe. But shout out to him for joining as well. And don't forget, if you did join midway through the show, you can go back and watch the show on GSB Twitch and on YouTube. And also later tonight, the episode will be available on Spotify if you look up Mission to Mars podcast.
yeah.
But We getting ready to get up out of here. Any final words, gamers or Puff?
No, I'm good, man.
Puff, you
Yeah,
good?
we'll see you. We'll see you Monday.
Yes, sir. Oh, one last note too. Mission of Mars moving forward will be on Sundays. So
Oh yeah.
Sundays at 7 o'clock. Once the regular season starts, we'll be having a podcast live. So definitely tune into that. Tell your friends, tell your family. We want to get a lot of people in here this season, especially for next Sunday's episode for a special reason. Since it's my birthday weekend, I'd love to see everybody in GSB in here. And we just had one big party for my birthday and discuss GSB. But definitely tune in Sunday. We appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. We getting ready to get up out of here. Mission to Mars podcast for Al Ingram III. We are Bad Gamers, and Puff. We out. Peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching Mars' lower orbit. Fasten your seatbelts and prepare yourself for atmospheric re-entrance.